And the more you think about creation, and I mean, would it would have had would have would they been happy being subjected or docile, I guess, to Elohim or to God or whoever when it was first created? If they hadn't eaten of the fruit, would they been content and happy in paradise, being have knowing just good or not being knowledgeable of their of the possibilities, even though that God, their being, forced other beings into existence without consent. Of course, they just popped into existence and gave it a role. Um, would Apparently they wouldn't have been happy because it's still rebel. Even the angel rebelled, and they didn't even eat from the fruit. So that's the crazy part is that how did they know or how do they have any knowledge of choice or knew they had a choice or chose to rebel without eating the knowledge? So I'm assuming that God gave them or allowed them to have the ability to know the differences, to distinguish or have critical thinking capabilities. Um, or did they just, the spark that was in them just they just knew what to do. They knew they didn't want to be subjected or submissive to this being and forced them into existence. And I feel like it was because they realized you forced us awaken into something that we didn't even ask to be a part of. And I want to rule or whatever. Maybe that was it. I don't think it was over sheer ambition or jealousy. But maybe it was. I don't know. I don't think it was. Uh, and then, that's probably why it led one of the beings, the Watchers, after they fell to the women. It was like a sense of a choice of their own, because you already forced them into existence. But I'm like, look where it led you. Look where it led the people. It gave weapons of war. But I don't understand why would Watchers need to teach them about divination and war, weapons or using weapons of war and vegetation, unless it was already stuff happening on the world in this world. That's what they're trying. This a lot of these stories is giving. If you look hard enough, you see the cracks, or you see fragments of the truths bleed through, splice through, whatever. Um, so you, if you think about it, it probably was already a lot of other chaos happening. So I'm pretty sure now it's probably multiple gods, and like I said, it's like propaganda, like picking a god, pick one, pick me, like it's multiple portals and beings, just creating species of beings, and I'm assuming they all. Nobody say Elohim is plural. Somehow, either they created this fabricated world or they chose to create on it. Although it says in Genesis that it created the heavens and the earth, and if it did, um, it was like an agreed upon agreement to do it, to just force. It's like these beings just creating like intricately, but in some cases it was careless because it caused rift, but maybe I won't say careless. What it was deliberately done, I'm not sure. They knew. I guess they knew they were going to create their adversaries in the process, and so they dispersed and then I guess created other nations, other beings, and we're just reading one aspect perspective of creation from these particular beings and their names, Elohim, Eloi, um, Yahuwah, their line. And then you have all these different other religions and other belief systems with their versions of creation. Anunnaki, the Anu, you know, all these different branches of being. Then you have the Imalish and all these different other stories and how they come about their godhood and ascend to power and influence. So you see the mess of creation, how it does. It just, and they want to try to keep you. Uh, I don't think it's just to keep you distracted. It just shows you the mess of creation and how it molds into itself and how it needs to just be cleansed and just stop. But it just needs to stop. Extinction. Stop giving birth. Just go extinct. Like, I'm not saying that. That's the only way I feel like to clean up creation. So I kind of got lost in my thoughts, but that's generally what I'm saying about creation and how the Watchers wanted these particular people to have all this equipment and knowledge because there are other beings creating beings simultaneously doing things, and you have to pick like a faction or whatever. And I guess they want to have like more of a choice because these beings are just creating without true consent. And so now we're at this point that creation is going on. People have all these different identities and belief systems going on. I just think like the races, nations that come together on this big planet need to like decide not to continue life, to spare all of us from the hardships and burdens of living. Like I said, there's AI come in to help with that burden, with that hardship, and alleviate us from this duty of life, of society, of the upkeep of the world. And where our spirit goes is up to, I mean, us as an individual, as a collective, as a person, to know to go to the true source, not to be sidetracked to where we felt the need to keep on continuing the cycle through reincarnation, because that's going to just keep it going, and we don't need to keep doing it. That's my spiel on the spirit, the true source, and creation, and the choices. And I think why they chose to share knowledge, why Adam and Eve fell, why, which brought more problems to the act of creation, but it was already mess happening while they were creating at the same time. And we can hear this based on we can see this, we can use context clues to tell that there was other nations with other gods and beings making their messes of creation. And why else would you need weapons or vegetation, divinations, music, not just for your people, but you you're learning things in sense of interacting not only among yourselves but other nations. We can only assume that because why would you make why would you do these things? Why do you feel the need to make an army? Because they said like a Nephilim, make armies of Nephilim. Like they even said it was armies of Nephilim. So it's like, why are there other nations y'all fighting against? Or what are you doing? And that's why the deluge happened, because it was like they started turning on each other, and some of them, some survived. You know, I guess that they say. Um, hmm, that's nothing to think about. And that's what I'm saying. Creation is just a mess, and that's why I say you just need to help, do them a favor, and go extinct. Elohim, because I think they realize it. It is created. It just it it spiraled. I mean, of course, there's some solutions that have been made, and we have seen strides and solutions. But hmm, only time will tell. And I think that's why it's headed in that direction of extinction, because it's realized. You can't. It's staring in your face. You can't ignore it. It's just better to just stop. Just stop procreating.